Hey, this is Pat, and today we are checking out the all-new Sedici Misano 2 gloves. Now, the Misano 2 gloves are actually the lower shortcut version of the Corsa 2 gloves, which are the top-of-the-line track options from Sedici out there. Now, if you are looking to go to the track, you're going to want a gauntlet style, so you'd want to look at those Corsas 2s. But for anybody riding around the street that prefers to have a mid-cuff to short cuff length when it comes to their gloves, these are going to offer the most amount of protection for the short cuff line that Sedici currently offers. And I really dig a lot of the features out there are MotoGP level features that we see out there, like an aramid liner running down the back. You got the full scaphoid sliders at the palm, full coverage on the outer seams, things like that you don't expect to see on short cuff gloves, but I like that they're adding it in here all for the $100 price point. So it is a little bit cheaper than the Corsa 2s because you are losing that full gauntlet up top, but it shares a lot of the features, and that price didn't change from the original Misanos. So I really dig that they're not changing the price in this day and age. That's pretty rare, so I like that they're doing that. But before I get too long-winded, let's talk about some of the other features. So I mentioned $100, no change in the price. You are looking at a small to 2 extra large when it comes to the sizing, and it comes in 3 different colors in the range when it comes to style. But when you're looking at sizing, I measure my hand right about 8.75 inches in the circumference around my knuckles and the palm, and that puts me in a size large, which is spot on. I'm actually a size large in almost every glove out there on the market, and it is no surprise here with the Sedici. It's very comfortable out of the box, something that's a little bit tighter right out of the box, but that will break in. Most leather gloves tend to break in about 10 to 20%, depending on how much you really work on your controls. But you'll have that little experience, like I said, a little bit tightness in the fingers, but I think that'll plenty break in once you start using them out there. So keep that in mind. Let's start up at the top though. I mentioned it is a mid-cuff to short cuff design. It's got a single Velcro strap here. I like that it's protecting from this extra flap of leather in case you get into a slide. You do have a little bit of abrasion protection there, but it is a full leather cuff design with a little bit of elastic at that split. And I like that. It makes it a little bit more comfortable putting on, but it's going to be a full goat leather main construction for the entire glove. And I like that they're using perforation. You can actually see right through that perforation there is going to be that aramid liner that I mentioned. You get a full aramid liner running down the back, which does double duty. That actually reinforces the leather at the back of the hand and also reduces any heat transfer and pass through to your hand. If you ever watch Marquez out there riding on the track, he'd often have burn marks on his forearm. The leather was intact when he had a huge slide, but actually the heat transfer of the friction would burn the skin out there. So they started adding aramid into MotoGP level race suits down the forearm and at the glove. So I like that Sedici is using that technology and that know-how and adding it into a glove at a more budget-friendly price point than we see from other competitors out there. That perforation runs all the way at the base of the wrist, and then at the back of the hand, you are looking at a brand new carbon knuckle at the base. That replaces a dual density knuckle running across here. Surrounded by leather, it's also got a piece of foam underneath of there, and it is a floating knuckle design, so it's actually detached from the back of the hand to allow a little bit more comfort when getting in the riding position and actually using your controls. And that has that accordion stretch, a little bit of stretch underneath, and that foam underneath of there, just to help with the movement when you are utilizing controls, grabbing the throttle, everything like that. You're not hindered by the movement of the knuckle. At the base of the fingers, it's all new. You get some new accordion stretch at the base of the trigger fingers when you're using the controls. I like that. I like not being hindered when I'm grabbing up on the controls, but at the tip, they are adding a little bit of TPU reinforcement just to give you a little bit of slide protection should you go down. The thumb gets that accordion stretch as well as a pop of foam at the back. And you can see here at the outer side of the hand, the outer seam, you get full coverage running down that entire outer seam. That's great. Doesn't leave any vulnerable seams. Should you go down on gloves, you're most likely to either land palm side or on the side. So that's going to slide and really be protected at the side and not have any issues with the seams there. A little bit of perforation at the fourchettes of the gloves. I'll try to lift that up there so you can see it. A little bit of perforation running down the inside to help that air flow through, and that is copied on the inside of the palm. One key update that I really dig that they added here is that you have external seams on the palm side fingers. That's going to make them much more comfortable when you're grabbing onto the controls and you're actually grabbing onto the grips. It's going to seal all your fingers together, but it's not going to drive those seams into your finger on the inside when they're on the external side. You can have them on the inside at the top of the hand. It's not really a pressure point there on the inside. It's tending when you feel it when you're moving your fingers. So I really dig that. Touch tech at the index as well as the thumb. If you're using your smartphone on the side of the road, you don't have to take your gloves off. If you have a touch tech TFT dash or something like that, you can also use it on there. I like seeing that in sport bike gloves. I think that everyone should be adding that in there. Reinforcement of grip here with the silicone gripper at the crook of the thumb across the palm, so I dig that. They're adding a little bit more grip in there. That's gonna be something that's gonna keep your hand in place. It's not gonna be sliding around. And then dual Knox scaphoid sliders at the base. This is all new, replacing a TPU slider and some super fabric from the last one. Something that they're using Knox's. Knox has been doing it for years. It's doing a great job, and I like their dual split one where it's actually got the leather between, leather fully surrounding with that outer seam coverage, but it's got some Knox armor underneath there too. Scaphoid sliders are great. If you go down and hit the deck, you're gonna slide. You actually don't want your hands to catch and grip on the ground, which is what you're most instinctively to do, is put your hands out. You want it to slide so that you don't snap your wrist. So everybody should be looking for that if you're looking to get more aggressive in your sport riding out there. But all in, I mean, you're looking at goat leather, you're looking at a full aramid backliner, carbon knuckle, dual Knox scaphoid sliders, as well as touch deck, and the external seams on the palm. I think for $100, these Misano 2s are punching well above their weight class and their price point. Now, most of these features would come in the glove looking at $180 to $250, depending on which Italian or European brand they're coming from. So I like that Sedici is offering that in these gloves at that entry-level price point when it comes to track level protection in a short cuff and mid cuff option. But if you have any other questions about these, or if you just want to see what other riders are saying and read other rider reviews, go ahead and click that info button. That's going to take you over to the product page where you can see those rider reviews and see what others are saying, or just figure out any of the other features throughout the glove. If you have questions on sizing and you're trying to nail down the fitment right out on your first order, give our customer service team a call. They're all riders, happy to help you get set up for your next ride. I want to thank you for joining me and checking out the all-new Sedici Misano 2 gloves. I'm Pat. I'll see you in the next video.